I need to watch Roadhouse. Nevertheless, though, what's up, guys? In today's video, we are going to be talking about what is next for Islam Makhachev and the rest of the welterweight division. And plus, we will be discussing fights to make next after UFC 322. This new landscape of the welterweight division is stacked. We got a lot of young, hungry cats. We got a few old dogs still in the pound. We got a couple outliers. But in today's video, I'm going to be giving you the recipe and the formula, and I'm going to be telling UFC, Dana White, and the rest of the brass over there at UFC how to match make these fights, these talented guys, and how to get the biggest fights, the best fights, most entertaining fights, etc., etc., etc. Because there is a lot that needs to be done now after that impressive yet boring victory from Islam Makhachev. But we will also be talking about the likes of Carlos Prates and Michael Morales coming off their huge wins. We'll be talking about Ian Gary fighting this weekend against Bilal Muhammad. I don't know who to root against. I don't want either of them to win if that's possible. We'll be talking about JDM and what's next for him after his loss. And we are going to be discussing the true fight that needs to be made, that we want to be made, that we deserve. So let's get right into the video, guys. Let me move my face cam real quick. This fight must happen. And guys, y'all already know what fight that is. It's Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. I mean, this fight must happen. And I will show you how we are matchmaking the welterweight division, including a fight that occurs this weekend, so that we can get this fight, have it be as big as possible, at the biggest stage possible, okay? And that is at the UFC White House event. That is when this fight should take place. The timeline can end up being perfect for this. We deserve it. And just to talk about this fight for a second, at worst, this fight should be held at catchweight. At worst, I don't care if the titles are on the line, honestly. This fight just must happen. But in all reality, it must, for the best possible case scenario, this fight must take place at lightweight or catchweight. Lightweight would be the best option, but I'll be honest, I don't know if I want to see this fight at welterweight. I think Islam is just too big, too physical. And I think at that point, it doesn't become a competitive legacy fight. It becomes a featherweight moving up to welterweight, okay? Because Ilia, in all reality, is a 145er. Fights great at 155. Lighter man skill. I mean, same thing with Islam moving up to 170. He went out there and dominated. But I honestly think, even at 170, not Ilia fighting him at 170, but out of the guys that Islam can fight at 170, I think this is the most competitive fight you can make for Islam, okay? And it needs to be at least at a catchweight minimum, like 160 to 165. But in all realness and in all hope and in all my prayers, this fight will take place at 155 for the lightweight title. It must happen, okay? It just has to happen. It's the headline. It's what everybody's talking about. This would be the true legacy fight for Islam and the true legacy fight for Ilia. It would be we'll be nice and we'll call it a target version of Conor and Khabib. But this is a huge, massive, massive event. It would make so much money, generate so much buzz. It must happen at some point, and we are going to get into how this will happen. How do we get there, guys? How do we get there? Starting off, Ian Gary fighting Bilal Muhammad this weekend. Okay? Ian Gary must beat Bilal Muhammad. Okay? And there's two situations that we'll talk about in this next fight as well that's taking place at UFC Qatar. Ian Gary must beat Bilal Muhammad. Because if Ian Gary beats Bilal Muhammad, in my opinion, and if you look at the rankings and the body of work for the contenders, Ian Gary, as much as I hate to say it, would be the most deserving for a welterweight title shot with a win over Bilal Muhammad. He would be. And if we're going to have Islam fight one more before a super fight against Ilia Topuria, Ian Gary and Islam would be the fight to do. Because not only is it a big fight, and Ian could possibly promote it, or he'll probably be nice. Islam! Islam, I'd love to fight you! God, I hate both of these guys. Nevertheless, though, the best possible scenario for it would be for Islam to just be iced until this summer for the UFC White House card. But man, that is a long time. So if Ian Gary can go out there and at least, he really preferably finish Bilal Muhammad, or at least an impressive dominant performance, that is the best case scenario for the welterweight division and for our chances to see Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria fight, okay? And I honestly, prediction video should come out tomorrow. I think Ian's going to beat Bilal, okay? But let's get into the next part that must happen for this mega super fight of Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. Arman Tsarukyan, Dan Hooker, main event, UFC Qatar this weekend. Arman Tsarukyan must make easy work of Dan Hooker, okay? Get in there, beat Hooker as quick as you can, take as least as much damage as possible. Quick turnaround, you and Ilia in like February or January, depending on if Ilia fights maybe Patty in January, and that still could work for Ilia to fight Arman in like March or April and still get that fight at the White House. Because Ilia needs one more big win to really set in stone a mega super fight with Islam Makhachev. And especially if he could go out there and knock out a guy like Arman with a similar skill set to Islam. Not as good, but very similar skill set. Okay? And like if the Patty fight does happen in January on the first Paramount card with Ilia, I still want to see Islam, Ilia, no matter how it happens, no matter how long we have to wait, if it's this summer or whatever, it's worth it. I want to see this fight. It's a huge fight, and we deserve to see it. And it's the biggest fight you can possibly make in the UFC right now, barring maybe just Conor McGregor fight in general. And it may even be bigger than that at this point, man. It is so huge. It'll bring corners of the world, corners of the freaking MMA fan base to one fight to watch that matchup. And I think an Arman win, an Ilia KO of Arman Tsarukyan bodes well for that fight. Because after that, really, what does Ilia have left at lightweight? Most of the top guys are still guys that have been there a while and that aren't really deserving of a title shot whatsoever right now. I mean, no one really is. We're still talking about Justin Gaethje maybe getting the title shot against Ilia, which is bananas. But maybe we just see Patty and Justin fight. Then we see Ilia knock out Arman. Then we see what happens in Ilia Makhachev. And then we get Patty, Ilia. Okay? But nevertheless, however we get there, we got to get there. We have to. But I think this is the best situation possible of how we get there, which is an Arman quick, easy finish of Dan Hooker, quick turnaround, fight Ilia, get knocked out by my king Ilia, Ian Gary to beat Bilal, and Ian Gary possibly fight Islam in the meantime, or possibly not. But I think either way, that's the best possible route for us to get the big super fight that we all want of Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev at the White House, or anywhere. It doesn't have to be at the White House. I'm fine with it not being the White House. I don't really care necessarily about that part. I just want the fight to happen. In summer of 2026, there's a big chance we could get Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. And we need everything to go right for this to happen. So I'm laying out the groundwork for that, guys. And I think this is the best possible groundwork we could have to get there. Okay, let's move on to the welterweight division in general and how it should be match made. Okay? Let me move my face cam one more time as well. Okay. Jack Della Maddalena, dominated by Islam Makhachev. Very disappointing performance. Poor JDM. But his next fight should be on it against another guy that lost, Sean Brady. And the reason this fight should happen is because for Jack to be back in title contention, he needs to fight a grappler. Okay. He needs to show that he does have those chops of defending the wrestling. You can't just throw him out there against another striker. He won't gain back the respect that he had before this Makhachev fight. And for Sean Brady, this is a favorable matchup. You're fighting a former champion, and when it's a win over him, you're right back in the title contention. I think this lines up perfectly for both guys. Sean Brady did get knocked out. Jack got dominated. Both guys should take a good amount of time, maybe have this fight in Australia sometime in the spring, April. That sounds great to me. It's an interesting matchup. I honestly wouldn't know who to pick at this point. The welterweight division is crazy. I don't know who was Bilal always just the fraud, and then Leon was just bad, and I don't know what to make of the welterweight division, but that is a matchup that gives us an answer to a lot of questions and bodes well for the future of both guys with a win. So I like that matchup a lot, and I think that's what needs to be made next for both guys. Next, we're going to talk about Shavkat Rakhmonov. Okay, top of the welterweight division, was riding high, undefeated, coming off a win against Ian Gary. Bro hasn't fought forever. He should not get an immediate title fight whatsoever. Not only does that just throw off the whole freaking awesome aura of the welterweight division right now, he just doesn't deserve it. After taking that time off, we don't know if he's going to be the same coming off major injuries, neglecting surgery, which I respect, but he's been out for so long. Who should he fight? The guy himself who thinks he should get the title fight right now, Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is coming off a win against Joaquin Buckley. He is a top 10 guy, okay? He is not this top flight of welterweight right now. He still has time to improve. But he's 1-3 in his last 4. 2 losses to Leon Edwards, which has aged awfully. A close loss and a great performance to the current middleweight champion, Khamzat Chimaev. I won't take anything away but positivity from that performance in all hindsight, in all reality. But then his last win was Joaquin Buckley, and he hadn't fought in forever before that. He still is choosing not to be active. If he wants a title fight, if either of these guys want a title fight, they need to be matched up against each other, because then we know which one is for real and deserves to be in this top flight of the welterweight division. And it proves a lot for both guys. If Kamaru comes in there and beats a scary boogeyman in Shavkat Rakhmonov, dude, give him the title fight at some point, right? And if it's Islam, I think that's a good fight. I just don't think Kamaru deserves it right now, and I think it would be pitiful if we gave it to him right now. And same thing with Shavkat. If Shavkat goes out and beats a former champion in Kamaru, who still is a high-level fighter, that's going to prove a lot of skill on his end, and I think he would probably be worthy of a title shot at that point. And this could line up perfectly for both guys because they're both seemingly inactive. So, maybe in the next 3 or 4 months, we book this fight and we make this fight. And because this fight, Jack Della Maddalena and Sean Brady, is not going to be an immediate title shot fight. So those two guys aren't going to be bargaining for a title fight. Ian Gary fighting this weekend. If Islam fights before this summer against Ilya, which we want, or it doesn't matter necessarily if he fights or not. It could work out. It could not. But he is the most deserving. And Shavkat and Kamaru probably won't fight again for a long time, either way, if they fight each other or not. But they should fight each other. It lines up perfectly. It makes so much sense, in my opinion. And again, winner and loser says much about both of these guys in the welterweight division. Man, that Leon Edwards loss, those 2 losses have aged so poorly for Kamaru. And if Ian gets the victory against Bilal this weekend, which I think he will, Shavkat beating him ages terrific as well. And let's go ahead and just move on to another guy who fought this weekend, Michael Morales. An incredible finish over Sean Brady, stamping his spot as a top flight welterweight, rapidly improving, still somewhat young, showing levels to his game. Who should he fight next? The guy who knocked out Leon Edwards, Carlos Prates. This is a separation fight to show which of these young bucks are truly deserving of a welterweight title shot. Okay? And what's so beautiful about this fight is that Michael Morales, I believe, is ranked 4th in division. Carlos Prates jumps up to 5. Michael Morales coming off a victory over Sean Brady, okay? And depending on how that JDM fight could roll out, okay, we can gauge a lot over how good Michael Morales is. Carlos Prates needs to fight a guy like Michael Morales. Coming off knockout wins of Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's not a top flight welterweight. Good win, though. Knocked him out easily. Spinning elbow, highlight, did what he did. Coming off an impressive win over Leon Edwards, where he was getting handled in the grappling game early. Stayed calm and composed. We talked about this yesterday. Comes out in the 2nd round and absolutely starches him. Headshot, dude! What? Freaking Leon, dude. He talks like a Muppet. That's what it is, a Muppet. But I think this is a good fight, and both of these guys took no damage. So we could roll this around fast. We could roll it around super fast. And also, because they're not in the top 3, either of them, whoever wins that matchup, and I bet both guys would take a lot of damage in a matchup against each other. I don't know who I would pick yet. I would have to think about that one for a little bit. I would lean Morales, but Carlos Prates can knock out anybody, but so can Michael Morales. That it could line up again with the timeline, okay? And the winner of that could sit out and wait for an Ilya Islam, see what happens in that fight, see what happens in the welterweight title picture. And say if we got like Ian and Islam wins, then Islam fights Ilya with an Ilya win over Arman. We could have an interim title fight, or Islam only has 2 or 3 fights left. Maybe he just vacates, does the Ilya fight, and he's done after that. That could be either an interim title fight or a vacant title fight. Or you can match up some other guys to do that. You could match up the winner of Shavkat Kamaru, or you could just do Shavkat Kamaru. That guy in this scenario would probably be very deserving. You could have Carlos and Michael fight, or if they roll that Carlos Michael fight fast, then you roll it into that title picture of possibly Islam vacating or them having an interim title fight. It rolls perfectly all in together, and I think this is the perfect formula to match up the welterweight division to get the clearest cut contenders, and it lines up with the timeline, and it's the perfect formula for still getting an Ilya Islam fight at 155 or catch weight, bar minimum. I don't even know if I want to see that fight contested at 170, because I don't want to. If it's going to happen, at least ruin Ilya at a weight class that's his. Don't ruin him at 170. That would make me depressed, because he's one of the biggest stars right now, one of the most entertaining fighters. And I just want to see that fight so bad. And I think this is the formula for getting that and rounding out the welterweight division to have clear-cut title contenders, clear-cut rankings, a clear-cut order with how stacked the division is right now. I'm very excited to see the future play out for the division. Knowing Dana White and the UFC, though, this will not happen whatsoever. They're so bad at doing this. They're going to miss all these good opportunities in matchups, the timeline. They're not going to see it. A lot of these guys are prima donnas as well. They like to complain. They like to whine. Oh, Dana, give me the title shot, please. I'm begging you, lad. That's my Ian Gary impression. I hate Ian Gary. Nonetheless, though, let me know in the comments what y'all think about these matchups in this formula to get us what we want, which is Islam and Ilia Topuria. Moving on for more matchups to make after UFC 322. Starting off with Valentina. This one's pretty easy. She's going to defend her belt at 125 against Natalia Silva. She's a clear-cut number 1 contender. Showed levels against Alexa Grasso. And I think with her speed on the feet, and if she can somehow implement some takedown defense, she does seem kind of small for the division. It could be tricky for Valentina. I'm not so sure. I don't even want to think about it. Don't put this on a pay-per-view. Valentina is a boring fighter now. I used to like her because she was very exciting, especially for WMMA in a new weight class, but now she makes me angry. But this is a clear-cut fight to make. Make this a main event of a fight night. That would be cool. Makes the fight night somewhat bigger. Don't put this on a pay-per-view. It would be a disgrace to our amazing sport, because we've seen what happened this past weekend. Freaking emotions flying, crazy finishes, crazy fights, and then we get Valentina and Weili Zhang. Kills the momentum. We were here and we went, okay? So we're not doing that. And let's talk about Weili. What does she do? Right back down to 115, the strawweight division. Go beat up Mackenzie Dern. There's not the strawweight division, not the strawweight. Yes, the strawweight division. Used to be the best women's division, in my opinion. Now, there's a very much big stalemate at the top of the division, with Joanna Rose being gone now, Weili moving up. Now she's not the champ. Mackenzie Dern and Verna Jandiroba fought for the title. Okay, let's have Weili move back down. Probably reclaim her crown at 115. She deserves it. She was just too small, easily out-physicaled. No real game plan going into the fight. But with all the work she's done at 115, probably being the GOAT of the division, give her Mackenzie Dern. Let her fight for the belt. She deserves it. Easy matchup. This one can be on a pay-per-view. I don't think this isn't. It's still probably not as exciting as a lot of other fights you can put on a pay-per-view, but Weili doesn't deserve to be treated horribly, but I mean, even though it's half her fault that fight was so boring, she just could not do anything to stop Valentina. But besides that, Weili's had some dominant performances, even when they go to decisions. They're not the craziest entertaining, but she inflicts damage. She beats up her opponents, and it's entertaining to watch. Let's move on to Leon Rocky Edwards. Rumors have it he is still asleep on the canvas. Who should he fight next? Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns. Two unks of the division, coming off losing streaks, looking out of their prime, and not where they need to be right now in their career, probably nearing retirement. I hear a lot of people saying Leon Edwards, Jorge Masvidal at the White House. I don't mind that at all, but a lot of people have said that, so I thought I would just propose something different. I think this is a good, fun fight for both guys. I still kind of like both these guys. I've always been a Gilbert fan. I like Gilbert. I thought in his prime he was a very exciting fighter, cool guy. But two guys out of their prime, nearing retirement, still in the top 15 of the division. Let them fight it out to see who gets the next scary up and comer to build a name off of, right? And in all honesty, I think Leon would make easy work of Gilbert. I think his chin's shot. I think he's farther out of his prime than Leon. But then, if either of these guys really even deserve to still be in the top 15 consideration of the welterweight division. But you could also run the Jorge fight with Leon. Huge storyline behind that. That would be super fun as well. But I wanted to just propose something different. Moving on to Benoit Saint Denis in his very, very quick finish of Beneil Dariush this weekend. Who should he fight next? Mateusz Gamrot. Coming off a loss to Charles Oliveira. I believe Mateusz is 7 in the division. Benoit moves up to 8. I think this is a perfect fight. Perfect opportunity for Mateusz to show he still has the chops and he's a top lightweight in the division, because he really is, man. Mateusz is a good fighter. But Benoit is looking like he's made improvements to his game, okay? And if Benoit can go out there and beat a guy like Mateusz, dude, he's one away from a title fight. Benoit's exciting, strong, powerful, interesting Frenchman. But I think for both guys, this is a test to see if they're still in there close for a title shot at 155. And, with a win over Mateusz, and depending what happens with Ilya, Benoit gets one more win. That's a new opponent for Ilya that that's actually somewhat, it's not I don't think it's interesting necessarily. I think Ilya would sleep him. But at least it's someone different, something with interesting, someone new climbing the lightweight division. So I think this is not only a great fight, but would mean a lot to the division and could shake it up a little bit as well, especially with a BSD win. Moving on to Bo Nickel. This is the final matchup I'll be proposing. Bo Nickel, let's put him up against Kyle Daukaus, okay? Kyle Daukaus rapidly improving after that time off from the UFC. Big finish over GM3 this past weekend on the same card. Timelines can line up perfectly. Both had big finishes. This is a level up from Rodolfo Vieira, but not crazy level up. And I don't think we should be feeding Bo Nickel to the top 15 right now. I think we should give him 2 or 3 more fights against guys like Kyle Daukaus and bump him up just slowly. And I think this is an interesting fight on the feet. It could show how good Bo Nickel is on the feet against Kyle Daukaus. While Kyle Daukaus ain't the best ever on the feet, he's confident, solid fundamentals, power in his hands. And on the ground, Kyle Daukaus ain't no slouch either. Not maybe necessarily in the wrestling department, but grappling in general and his submission game. I think this would be a really good test for Bo to see where he's at in the middleweight division. And Kyle Daukaus, if he beats Bo Nickel, that's a big deal, man. And he could see himself soon in a top 15 matchup. I think this is an interesting matchup. I think it could be a really good fight with Kyle Daukaus' skill set. And I think this is how you should match up Bo Nickel at this point in his career. I don't think we need to see massive jumps from Bo. So I think that is a great matchup to make. This fight could happen soon, and I think that would be good for Bo to get more octagon time, and it's good for Daukaus too to get. The quicker he can get wins like this, the quicker he is back to being a top 15 borderline guy, and a guy he thought he could be that middle. He thought he could be a top contender in the middleweight division. I don't know why I stuttered so bad there. But I think this makes sense for both guys. I think it's perfect for Nickel. And I would like to see this fight too. I think it's a very interesting matchup for Bo. But nonetheless, guys, that's it for today's video. Please in the comments below, let me know what y'all think about my matchups. and if the UFC should do this. And if y'all agree, let me know where y'all disagree and throw in some of your opinions and matchups that maybe we should see moving forward in the UFC after UFC 322, especially regarding the welterweight division and the possible matchup of Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. But I know y'all agree with me there. I know y'all want to see that, and you know that is the biggest fight to make in the UFC right now. So you know that formula is so nasty, and it would get us exactly what we want. But anyways, guys, if y'all could please like this video, mean the world to me. Go watch my video yesterday recapping UFC 322. I have 0 views on it. Nobody likes this channel. It's okay. I'm still going to keep posting. One day, baby. One day at a time. Y'all know how it is. We grinding out here. But if you watched all the way through, I love you, and I appreciate you so much for watching this entire video. Please subscribe to CNOL MMA. Putting awesome content out like this 3 to 4 days a week. Tomorrow, I should have my UFC Qatar predictions and preview video out. Again, please let me know what y'all think about the matchups in the comments below. And until next time, Christ is King.